Welcome back to episode 2 of the E46 DCT Turbo build series. Today I'm going to show you how I built this 3D printed exhaust manifold and wastegate recirculation setup. The CAD software I'm using is SolidWorks. This is just the one that I'm the most used to, and there's other free options like Fusion 360 that you can use as well. And this is the collector and the part that I printed. The manifold collector is based off of these loft features that I have. And the loft is basically, you have a function that makes a solid between two 2D sketches. And you can also define guide curves like I did. These pink lines are guide curves, which just define the path of which the feature should follow. And then when you have all your features, you can combine them, and then I use this shell command, which just makes your feature hollow. You select all the open ends of your feature, and then you select a wall thickness, and then it makes just a hollow shape from that. And then for the pipes, these are defined by a 3D sketch. This just marks the center line of the pipe, and then you can use the sweep feature to sweep a profile along this line. And since I know that the radius of the pipe is fixed, I can define that in the sketch, and I can also see what angles that I have. So this just takes out the guesswork when you fabricate. And for manufacturing this part, I used CraftCloud, and it's just a service where you can upload STL files, and yeah, it's just a 3D printing service. So you choose your material. They have plastics and other, but the one I used is 316 stainless. So you just choose your surface finish, and then you get prices from different manufacturers. So this is how the part came out from the manufacturer. I did have some issues with warping, but it was nothing major. And the most important thing was that the flange was straight and the dimensions were accurate. You can print threads, but I just wanted to make sure that they were perfect, so I decided to tap the threads myself. And to get the collector in the correct position relative to the flange, I just printed this jig in plastic to just hold it in the right position. When fabricating like exhaust manifolds and exhaust in general, the process is always the same. You just find the bends that fit, and then you tack them in place. Now what's good with having everything drawn up in CAD is that you can just go into the CAD software and find which angles you have for each bend. So you can just use that as a reference when you're cutting the bends to take out some of the guesswork when you're designing a manifold. So for the runners 4 and 2, there's a notched tubing that goes into the collector, and I just use a normal tube notcher to make this. And then I took it to the belt sander to smooth out the roughness, and then also you have to clean up the inside of the pipe as well. When all the runners are in the correct position and everything is tacked up, you can just cut them off from the manifold and then fully weld them and then just put them back, because it's easier to weld them off of the manifold instead of trying to find a way to weld it onto the manifold. So this is just me tacking those pieces back together. And then I have this huge block, like a heatsink, and this is designed to take up the heat when you're welding the flange towards the head to prevent warping. Here's just me prepping the pie cuts for my downpipe, and these are cut from a straight piece of tubing. You basically have a 15-degree pie cut, so there's two 7.5-degree cuts. And then this is me just polishing the pipes with a stainless steel brush, and it leaves like a really nice brushed finish. And then it's always important to deburr the inside of the pipe to get a cleaner weld. So it's kind of hard to see, but the downpipe will be a straight section followed by a 45 and then another straight section. So you just have to measure how long those sections should be. So here's the downpipe finished or tacked up, and then you have to make sure you have enough clearance to the chassis to prevent stuff from burning. And it's also important to have a flex joint on your downpipe, otherwise your entire exhaust is going to be resting on the exhaust manifold, which eventually will cause it to crack. I couldn't get like a good camera angle on this, so I just made these off camera, these first parts of the wastegate dump tubes. It was really hard to build the wastegate dump tubes with the engine inside the car, so I decided to just take it out and build them on this engine lift. As you can see here, I did have some issues with warping when I welded the merge to the downpipe. So I had to remake this piece, so I just cut some of it off and then I had to remake it and weld it back up again. So it's important to be careful when welding things so they don't warp too much. So yeah, that's the finished process, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any questions, just leave a comment and I will answer them. And I will see you in the next video.